Gentlemen, female gentlemen, we are here with more Islam lore. That's what we're doing today. As you know, here on Taku, we do lore every single day. Every day we do lore here on Taku. Definitely subscribe. Today, the lore of Islam. This was actually emailed to me by one of you guys. I don't know how you guys got my email. It's not like it's on my about page and Twitter bio or anything, but you've been emailing me recommendations recently, and I go through them. And this was literally recommended to me. Is Allah the pagan idol Baal? Damn. All right. Lock in, everybody. This is gonna be wild. Oh boy. All right. What do we got? Is Allah Baal? Please like and subscribe. Not before the video.
According to the Hebrew Bible, one of the names of Baal is Baalzebub.
True. Lord of the Flies. Oh, sick. I'm going to give you, like, in all this epic Hebrew Jew lore about Baal, while we probably get a more Christian perspective of Baal from here. That's going to be sick.
2 Kings chapter 1, verses 1 to 3, verse 6 and verse 16. After Ahab died, Moab rebelled against Israel. Ahaziah fell through a window lattice in his upper chamber in Samaria and was injured. He sent messengers with these orders. Go ask Baalzebub, the god of Ekron, if I will survive this injury. But the angel of the Lord told Elijah the Tishbite, get up, go to meet the messengers from the king of Samaria. Say this to them, you must think there is no God in Israel. That explains why you are on your way to seek an oracle from Baalzebub, the god of Ekron. They replied, a man came up to meet us. He told us, go back to the king who sent you and tell him, this is what the Lord has said. You must think there is no God in Israel. That explains why you are sending an oracle from Baalzebub, the god of Ekron. Therefore, you will not leave the bed you lie on, for you will certainly die. Elijah said to the king, this is what the Lord has said. You sent messengers to seek an oracle from Baalzebub, the god of Ekron. Is it because there is no God in Israel from whom you can seek a message? Therefore, you will not leave the bed you lie on, for you will certainly die.
Oh boy.
The footnotes for 2 Kings chapter 1 verse 2 on BibleGateway.com say,
okay, alright, BibleGateway.com.
Apparently, Baalzebub refers to a local manifestation of the god Baal at the Philistine city of Ekron. The name appears to mean Lord of the Flies, but it may be a deliberate scribal change of Baalzebub, Baal the Prince, a title known from the Ugaritic texts.
Alright, so Baalzebub literally means the Lord of Flies. It's a literal translation, actually. It's not just referring to Lord of Flies, it's a direct translation. Baal means Lord, and Zebub means flies. Zvuv means fly. So it literally means Lord of Flies. That's not just like an interpretation. That's a literal translation.
Elaborated in the New Testament, the Lord Jesus identifies Baalzebub as Satan himself.
So I don't think that. Okay, so I'll give you some Jew lore on Baalzebub. So Baal was it was an idol that was worshipped by shitting on it. By the way, this is a real thing. All right, not exaggerating. Literally, its worship was shitting on it, and it was called Baalzebub, Lord of the Flies, because flies gathered to the shit that they shit on the idol in their prayers. This is literally how they used to pray to Baal, which was this idol, this fake god. So anyway, now the thing is, when here it's saying that Jesus identified Baalzebub as Satan himself. So according to Judaism, Baalzebub is not literally Satan. Baalzebub, however, is an idol, and they used to worship idols, and Satan gets you to worship idols. So while Baalzebub is not Satan himself, according to Jew lore, Satan does manipulate people to worship false gods. So I guess you could blame Satan for the worship. You're thinking of Baal Peor. Baal Peor was also same guy. Same dude, same guy. They worshipped him by shitting on him because Baal Peor means shit, literally. So Baalzebub, Baal Peor, same false god, as far as I am aware.
Matthew chapter 10 verses 24 to 25. A disciple
I thought Baal was the one people sacrificed children to. No, that was Moloch.
Is not greater than his teacher, nor a slave greater than his master. It is enough for the disciple to become like his teacher, and the slave like his master. If they have called the head of the house Beelzebul, how much worse will they call the members of his household? Mark chapter 3 verses 22 to 26.
Right.
The expert in the law who came down from Jerusalem said, he is possessed by Beelzebul, and by the ruler of demons he casts out demons. So he called them and spoke to them in parables. How can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom will not be able to stand. If a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand. And if Satan rises against himself and is divided, he is not able to stand, and his end has come. Matthew chapter 12, verses 22 to 27. Then they brought him to a demon-possessed man who was blind and mute. Jesus healed him so that he could speak and see. All the crowds were amazed and said, "Could this one be the son of David?" But when the Pharisees heard this, they said, "He does not cast out demons except by the power of Beelzebul, the ruler of demons." Now when Jesus realized what they were thinking, he said to them, "Every kingdom divided against itself is destroyed, and no town or house divided against itself will stand. So if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then will his kingdom stand? And if I cast out demons by Beelzebul, by whom do your sons cast them out? For this reason they will be your judges."
All right.
The footnotes
we're doing some Beelzebub lore before we actually dive into Islam, I guess.
Matthew chapter 12, verse 24 on BibleGateway.com state, Beelzebul is another name for Satan.
Again, that's maybe that's what it says on BibleGateway.com, but that is not Jew lore. That's I guess converging opinions, I suppose.
Here is where it gets interesting. The Islamic sources testify that the chief deity of Mecca and the lord of the Kabah was a god named Hubal.
Oh boy, I didn't know that. Oh boy. So, because the Kabah was used for pagan worship, all right? It was used for pagan worship before Islam took over Mecca. And before Islam took over the Kabah, it was literally used for that. Oh my.
Who was viewed as the moon god. Hubal was also the idol whom Muhammad's tribe, the Quraysh, and family worshipped.
Yeah, before Muhammad showed up and they worshipped Allah, they worshipped Hubal, I guess. You're saying that Hubal was Baal? Same guy? Same idol? Oh man. Oh boy.
The evidence.
So in interesting, I thought Satan was Lucifer, not Baal. So Satan, from what I understand, is Lucifer. I don't think, from my understanding, he's not Baal. He's saying Baal's a Baal, not Baal-zebub. It's a different one. Lord of the Flies. Okay, so it's all the same false god. Okay, all right. Baal literally means Lord. Okay, Baal-zebub is Lord of the Flies. Flies come when there's shit. Shit is how they worship this god, the Baal Peor, the Baal, Zabal. Zabal is Hebrew for Zevel, garbage. So it's the same idea. They would worship this god through something disgusting, all right? Through, shit and garbage, and it would call flies, all right? So that's what I'm talking about. So anyway, what I think it's meaning here is not that Baal-zebub is Satan personally, but more like Satan is the guy that's manipulating them into worship this Baal-zebul or Baal-zebub. That's my understanding here.
Further suggests that the Meccans even referred to him as Allah, since the Muslim literature attests that Muhammad's grandfather would pray to Allah while standing before Hubal's idol.
That's a yikes. So they would pray in front of Hubal's idol, which is, again, a sin according to the Bible. Literally. Thou shalt not, this is in the 10 Commandments, for those of you that are unaware. This is commandment number 1 and 2, directly and utterly. All right, do not pray in front of images and idols. Like, this is classic idolatry.
According to American anthropologist Covington Scott Littleton in his book Gods, Goddesses and Mythology, Volume 11, Hubal is defined as the chief god of the Kabah, a martial and oracular deity, as well as a moon god. The book states that Hubal is defined as an idol, the god of the moon. Centuries before Islam, Amr bin Luhay, a chief of the tribe of Jurhum who dwelt in Mecca before the coming of the Quraysh tribe, brought the idol to the city from Syria. It was set up in the Kaaba and became the principal idol of the pagan Meccans.
Bro, so I do know that the Kaaba was an actual box of pagan worship. I didn't realize that it was connected to Baal. I don't know if you're aware of this, but this is the Black Stone of Mecca. All right, I already did a lore dive on the Black Stone of Mecca, but it kind of does look like a toilet. Like, I don't want to be rude here. I'm sure this is rude, but like, it does kind of look like a toilet, I'm not trying to. Anyway.
The ritual casting of lots and divining arrows was performed in front of it. Irish academic and writer Malise Ruthven, in his book Islam in the World, states, "The Islamic tradition furnishes several clues about the possible origins of the Kaaba. Like several other shrines in Arabia, it was part of a haram, or sacred area, where intertribal fighting was forbidden, facilitating trade. The temple was evidently at the center of a cult involving idol worship. The presiding deity was Hubal, a large carnelian statue kept inside the temple, and 360 idols were arranged outside. He elaborates that although originally under the aegis of the pagan god Hubal, the Meccan Haram, which centered around the well of Zamzam, may have become associated with the ancestral figures of Ibrahim and Ismail as the Arab traders. Shedding their parochial background, sought to locate themselves within the broader reference frame of Judeo-Christianity.
Yeah, they tried. They tried very hard. Islam's one of Islam's big things was being like, yo, we're part of the Abrahamic religions, just like you guys. That was like a thing. So, in case you're unaware, in Jew lore, there's two trains of thought in regards to Islam, if Islam is actually idol worship or not. So, according to Maimonides, very well-known Jewish scholar who lived in Egypt among Muslims, said that Islam actually was an Abrahamic religion and was not idol worship. However, the alternate perspective, which stems from a man that's referred to as the Ran, all right, a man I believe he lived in like Spain or France. He was a European rabbi, also around 1,000 years ago, similar time period to Maimonides. He said that it is idol worship. So this was like a debate among trains of thought of Jewish rabbis debating forever. You know, that's what Jews do. Jews debate and argue with each other. This is classic Jew lore. So this was a old school debate among Jewish rabbis if Islam is idol worship or not, and Allah is the same God as the one true God.
The god of Mecca, Hubal, represented by a statue of red carnelian, is thought to have been originally a totem of the Khuza'a, rulers of Mecca before their displacement by the Quraysh.
All right.
Scholar of
Jews are master debaters. I don't know if you heard the news.
Islam, Fred McGraw-Donner, in his book Muhammad and the Believers at the Origins of Islam, explains, at the center of the town was the shrine called the Kabah, a large cubical building with a sacred black stone affixed in one corner.
Yeah, the whole sacred stone thing I really feel like is wild. Like it literally says in Leviticus 26 that you should not bow down to a stone, and it's like, we have a sacred stone that we bow down to. I find that really weird. I'm not gonna lie, I find that really wild.
That was the sanctuary to the pagan god Hubal.
Wait, the stone was called the sanctuary to Hubal? Bro.
Islamic scholar and historian Ibn Kathir, in his book Al-Sirah al-Nabawiyah, The Life of Prophet Muhammad, Volume 1, agrees with the previous authors, stating, Ibn Ishaq stated, it is claimed that when Abd al-Muttalib received such opposition from Quraysh over the digging of Zamzam, he vowed that if 10 sons were born to him who grew up and protected him, he would sacrifice one of them for God at the Kabah.
He said he would sacrifice his son for a god? Bro, whoa. Whoa! I didn't know that this was anywhere in Ibn Kathir or any of that. That is straight up the most unbelievable level of idolatry. Holy crap. I didn't know that was a thing. He took a vow that he would sacrifice one of his sons?
Eventually, he had 10 sons grown up whom he knew would give him protection.
Oh no.
Their names were Al-Harith, Al-Zubayr, Hajl, Dirar, Al-Muqawwim, Abu Lahab, Al-Abbas, Hamza, Abu Talib, and Abdullah. He assembled them and told them of his vow and asked them to honor his pledge to God, Almighty and all-glorious is He. They obeyed and asked him what he wanted them to do. He asked each of them to take an arrow, write his name on it, and return to him. They did so and went with them inside the Kaaba to the site of their god, Hubal, where there
Holy crap. They directly say this.
was the well in which offerings to the Kaaba would be placed. There, near Hubal, were 7 arrows which they would use for divining a judgment over some matter of consequence, a question of blood money, kinship, or the like. They would come to Hubal to seek a resolution, accepting whatever they were ordered to do or to refrain
So
from.
they actually did human sacrifice to this black stone. Bro.
The text of Ibn Kathir continues. So they left for Medina, where they found the diviner, whose name was Sajjah, as Yunus b. Bukayr reported from Ibn Ishaq was at Khaybar. They rode off again and went to her and sought her advice, Abd al-Muttalib telling her of the whole problem regarding him and his son. She told him, leave me today, until my attendant spirit comes and I can ask him. They left her, and Abd al-Muttalib prayed to God. Next day, they went back to her, and she informed them that she had had a message. How much is the blood money you prescribe? She asked.
Oh
10
my
camels,
God,
they
this
told
is
her,
wild.
that being then the case. Then go back to your land and present your man as an offering, and do the same with the 10 camels. Then cast arrows to decide between him and them. If the divining arrow points to him, then add to the number of camels until your God is satisfied.
Oh, so they're like redeeming him off or something by making camels instead of human sacrifice.
If it points to the camels, then sacrifice them in his place. That way you will please your God and save your man. So they went back to Mecca, and when they had agreed to do what she had
Wait, so they're like, wait, I'm so confused here. Like, wouldn't the correct thing to tell him? Okay, so let me just try to understand this, right? If this guy would come to me and be like, yo, I made a vow to the Baal, all right, or Hubal or whatever, this idol, all right, that I'm going to sacrifice something to him, I wouldn't be like trying to appease the idol. I'd be like, yo, that shit's a fake god, all right? That's a false god. You don't need to obey him, actually. That's not real. Where do you learn that Baal is associated with poop? That's, first of all, historical. First of all, it's literally historical. Second of all, it's talked about in the Talmud that Baal was worshipped by pooping on him. But it's also literally, historically, that is how they used to worship the Baal.
your man. So they went back to Mecca, and when they had agreed to do what she had said, Abdul Muttalib said prayers to God. Then they offered up Abdullah and the 10 camels as sacrifice and cast the arrow.
Bro.
At that point, the men of Quraysh told Abdul Muttalib, who was standing near Hubal praying to God, "It's all over, your God is pleased, O Abdul Muttalib."
That's wild.
It makes absolutely no sense for Muhammad's grandfather to stand before the statue of Hubal.
Yeah, no, he's totally right. No, this is an insane point. This is a crazy point. Muhammad, allegedly, is a prophet of God, right? Allah, that told him and to destroy the idols of the previous people. There's no way Muhammad's grandfather was worshiping Allah
While praying to Allah if they were not one and the same. Nor does it make sense for the grandfather to make a vow to Allah and then go before the idol of Hubal in order to fulfill it. Now, what makes this rather fascinating is that Hubal was none other than the false god Baal, who had been imported from the Moabites.
Damn.
Author John Mueller Arnold,
That's
in his
crazy.
book Islam, Its History, Character, and Relation to Christianity, explains, the Kabah itself, which was the sanctuary of the pagan Arabs, and remained such after they had embraced Islam, is a building about 34 feet high and about 27 broad, so called from being almost a perfect square, as the name implies. In this building, we find no less than 360 idols. A chief of them, Hubal, was at once the presiding god in the temple and the principal deity of the Qurayshites, who were its guardians. The preeminence of this idol was evinced by the fact that before it, the casting of lots with arrows took place. Prior, however, to its obtaining this honor, it passed through a term of probation, for we learn upon good authority that for a considerable period it stood outside the walls of the Kaaba, patiently waiting for its admission. It was probably introduced when the sanctuary of the Quraysh tribe was converted into the pantheon of the whole of Arabia. The name of Hubal remains a mystery.
I'm literally
The
shocked.
opinion that it is synonymous with the Babylonian and
That's rough.
Syrian Baal or Bel is supported by the testimony of Arab authorities,
Damn. That's crazy.
according to whom Hubal was originally imported from Syria. These writers do not indeed maintain that Hubal was identical with Baal, but they admit Hubal to be an astronomical deity. Again, when it is
Alright.
stated by Abul Feda that the image of Abraham occupied the chief in the Kaaba and that he was represented by Hubal, we may take it for granted that Hubal had a double character like Baal, who
Yikes. This is very scary. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this is a little bit terrifying.
was both the founder
Like, I'm actually really shocked by this. That they're, I'm not saying this is true. Again, there's multiple opinions, whether it's Allah is the same one true God that, Jews and Christians worship, or if Allah is actually an idol, an idolatrous false god. There's like, this is a whole debate, but this is getting really scary. Like, this is actually getting really scary.
of the Babylonian Empire and the solar deity. Author Khairat al-Saleh, in her book Fabled Cities, Princes and Jinn from Arab Myths and Legends, states, as well as worshipping idols and spirits found in animals, plants, rocks, and water.
What? This is direct and utter idol worship. This is actual idol worship. The ancient Egyptians, in the times of the Old Testament, used to worship goats. All right? They directly used to worship goats. Like, and that was considered idolatry. Straight up and utter, uncontested idolatry.
The ancient Arabs believed in several major gods and goddesses whom they considered to hold supreme power over all things.
Yeah, straight up polytheistic idolatry.
The most famous of these were Alat, Al-Uzza, Manat, and Hubal. The
There he
first
is
three
again.
were thought to be the daughters of Allah, God, and their intercessions
Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. That is straight up paganism. The idea that Allah is out here having daughters that are also deities that you have to pray to and stuff. Nah, dude. I'm out. I am out, dude. That's paganism. Straight up. I don't know how you could possibly have another interpretation of this.
On behalf of their worshippers were therefore of great significance. Alat, also known as Alilat, was worshipped.
Like, this is straight up polytheism. This is straight up polytheism. Sheesh. And these guys are constantly like shitting on Christians for saying that Christians have prayed to Jesus, who's the Son of God. Meanwhile, these guys have the children of Allah. Right? Oh my God.
In the shape of a square white stone. She was known to other Semitic people in Syria and Mesopotamia and was the mother goddess of Palmyra in northern Syria.
And by the way, the son, even Jesus, like, he's considered, a manifestation of God in, our world. Like that is how Jesus is referred to by Christians. This sounds more like Zeus, all right, having, minor gods as children, like with their own authority.
Syria, whose symbol was the lion. The Nabateans of South Jordan and South Palestine worshipped her as the sun goddess, the giver of life. In Mecca, Al-At had a haram, sanctuary, and a hima where the Arabs flocked to perform the rites of worship and sacrifice which would bring her favor upon them. Al-Uzza was worshipped in the form of 3 palm trees, a stone, and an idol.
Bro, they're literally coming up with, this is like straight up idol worship. I don't even know what to say.
She was the supreme deity of the tribe of Quraysh, the rulers of Mecca immediately before Islam. She had a temple and a hima there, and was offered gifts in gold and silver and adorned with jewelry. Her name means the most cherished, but she was a cruel goddess who could be appeased only by the shedding of blood, both human and animal.
Bro?
Like Alat, Al-Uzza was associated with the goddess of love, Al-Zuhra, but was more closely linked with Alat. The two were often worshipped together and sometimes formed a trinity with Manat or the god Hubal. Replicants of them were carried by the clans of Quraysh when they went to war to inspire the fighters with courage and devotion. Hubal was associated with the Semitic god Baal and with
oh my God!
Adonis or Tammuz, the gods of spring, fertility, agriculture, and plenty. Hubal's idol used to stand by the holy well inside the sacred house. Muslims are now faced with a dilemma. Since Hubal was the chief god of Mecca and the lord of the Kabah, this means that he would have been the Allah that was worshipped by the pagans.
True.
And since Hubal was actually Baal, and since Baal is another name for Satan, this means that Allah of the Quran is none other than Satan himself in disguise.
Oof. The master deceiver. Holy crap. Yikes. Bro, I'm shaking, bro. This is crazy.
Now note the logic behind this argument. 1. According to the Lord Jesus, Baal is another name for Satan. 2. The Muslim sources affirm that Hubal was the chief deity of Mecca and the god of the Kabah. 3. As the high god, Hubal would have inevitably been called Allah, since that is the title which the pagans would have given to their chief presiding deity. 4. The scholarly literature affirms that Hubal was none other than the false god Baal. 5. This means that Baal was the Allah worshipped by the pagans at Mecca. 6. Since Baal is another name for Satan, this shows that the Allah of the Quran is none other than Satan disguising himself as the God of Abraham.
Damn. That's wild. That's wild, dude. Oh my God. And that's the end of the video. Sheesh. Again, I don't know, man. I don't know. There are 2 perspectives here, and I'm not here to commit to either of them. One perspective is that it's idol worship. And it's pretty plain to see how that's the case. And the other is that Allah is just the one God, the same God that we worship, which is the other perspective. There's 2 perspectives. I'm not here to commit to either of them, but that's really interesting. Now that I see the evidence of the other one, I will admit that it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy, pretty insane. Damn. So, again, I'm sure this video is going to piss some people off, but, that's what we do. We're doing lore here. We're doing lore. So, according to Jew lore, idol worship was not done because people were retarded and thought that rocks that they're praying to created the universe, but rather that, God is everything. And instead of actually praying to God, the one true God, they are finding intermediaries. And the intermediaries that they are following are rocks or idols or whatever, because God is everything. There is a spiritual aspect to different things, and that's what they were praying to. And that Baal is the god of the Kabah, and they're still praying to that is wild. Is absolutely wild. It really is. So anyway, that's crazy. Allah of the Quran can't be Hubal, whose idol was destroyed by the Muslims. Why would they destroy an idol that they worship? That's a good question. I'm not going to make believe I know the answer, but they still worship the black stone in the Kabah. Right? They still go to the Kabah, which was a pagan building. All right, they still worship the black stone, which was a pagan rock that was that's, you know, a representative in the house of this Hubal. All right, I'm not saying that's not the case, but that's literally what we're dealing with. So again, I don't know if it's a pagan religion or not, but it's definitely a wild perspective. Definitely a wild perspective, and definitely seeming like it violates the Ten Commandments. Even though it says in the Quran that, you know, obey all the words and revelations of the Bible and Old Testament and stuff are true. But then it straight up seems like it's idol worship on the other hand. So, I don't know. Thanks for being here, buddy. Thanks for being here. This has been a chilling lore dive. See you in the next one. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.